Hello there, my name is Rachel. Let's talk about animation, and today we talk about the season finale of Fionna Cake. And this 52 episode 9, episode 10, was a surprise. It's one of those that was really good, but at the same time almost speechless because it just landed, I don't know, very well, but a little bit too fast. I think it needed another 30 seconds or a minute just to smooth things out a bit. Other than that, it was really good. I mean, it would have happened in episode 9, especially Simon finding gay to Fionna, with to the god half Fionna hybrid who controls the whole world. But shockingly, next to her, you see the Lich sort of repenting everything he did. A very weird way, but also kind of metaphorically kind of pointing out how Simon kind of feels or whatever he did, because the Lich just sort of did everything he did to destroy the whole universes, but he's not happy. He doesn't get it. He's trying to ask Golem slash Betty to tell him do something. Tell me what is his goal. Why he's so confused. And instead, he was sort of reformed to a block. It was sort of weird, but interesting because later on, it's sort of a great metaphor of the situation as Simon really is. Because Simon got kind of punished in a way to go to a different universe, a different body, a different adventurer that will be find the final adventurer of who of the season finale of the original Adventure Time. That sort of hybrid cat dog ish thing. I don't remember his name, but he took over his body. He trying to go back to Betty, only specifically trying to go back to Fiona Cake to actually save them by using a book to find the crown. But once more, they use another metaphor to explain how Simon's relationship with Betty really was. It was magical, but sort of one-sided. And that is sort of interesting because he sort of find out his obsessiveness with Betty. It was sort of like a poison to him. Not just to him, but Betty also, because Simon gambled everything on himself, his obsessiveness with the crown, while giving no much time to Betty because he making the choices of the relationship and while realizing not letting any choices to Betty what she wanted, because the result what happened is basically becoming mad, becoming the Ice King, and Betty becoming half god, half human golem hybrid because of Simon, because he keep choosing the wrong thing while choosing themselves. And that is sort of interesting. But I love it. They point out it's not just Simon's fault. It's also kind of Betty's fault while giving a backbone. Maybe it was not a good idea to make those type of choices. Maybe she wanted to do something else. Or maybe focus on her career. But she never really stepped up. She never really told that to Simon because how deeply a love she was to Simon. And once again, it's sort of interesting because Simon all this time trying to go back to Betty instead Fionna, sacrificed himself, thinking his life has no meaning of leaving, in other words, to he sort of kind of understand Fionna Cake, how he became once more kind of like a father figure to the girls. He's trying to help them, trying to put them in the right direction, trying to give them the right questions to answer themselves, to figure out the situation they really are, while really realizing that. And that gave him sort of purpose. And that's a sort of interesting how they use metaphor after metaphor after metaphor to point Simon sort of the right direction. And just sort of interesting. Especially what happened to Fiona Cake, that they got there when they wanted, they went back to their own universe, thought thinking, oh, we can have our own magical adventures, everything. So a little bit she realized maybe she doesn't want the magic. She wants her original world, because when she sees her two best friends falling in love and scared, she's the one who can destroy their love because she wants something different. She wants life to change, but once more with what cost. And that is interesting because everything she knows would change and not remember her, at least in theory. And that's sort of fascinating because she kind of went to the breaking down, realizing maybe I made the wrong choice. maybe I'm just running away the reality right in front of me while actually confronting it. And that's just sort of interesting, especially with Scarab. The basically his main job is to fix everything how it really is. He actually figured out how to go back to Fionna Kick and destroy it by hand. Even that the god Golem and Belly said something that didn't say. Golem slash Betty never says anything. You have to sort of reinterpret the things they do, and I think the Scarab is interpreting doing his own job that he's supposed to do, reset and fix order. In a way, I feel that's so interesting as sort of a villain because the Scarab is technically not a villain. He's doing his job. So he actually went to Fiona Kick universe and started to destroy him. But I love it how much struggle, work, assessment he was doing to do his job. The point that is, you could say it was another metaphor as Simon. Like he was doing the same thing as Simon, the same thing as the Lich. So over assessing the thing he must do, or realizing, asking that question, this one probably was worth it, or maybe he was not worth it because I keep sacrificing things that he doesn't really can't sacrifice. Like every time he sacrifices, he feels unhappy. Sometimes you don't need to sacrifice the thing you need because it just doesn't make you happy. What's the point of doing that? And that is just so interesting because they keep hitting that nail over and over again, just so different ways. You just sort of get it because I love it went to back to Simon till he realized that, realizing he just sort of wasted his time because he's sort of unhappy because he chose to be unhappy while realizing the situation he put himself into, and that's how Fionna feels. How she realized maybe she wasted her time running away, accepting her own reality, how it really is. Yeah, I love it that should have maybe too little, too late in a way, but trying to defeat the Scarab, even the Scarab went to a little rogue because once again the slash Golem slash Betty sort of stopped him in a way. A help of Frismo, how he escaped his own prison, how Frismo captured, not recaptured, rehired a lot of people that Fionna Kick kind of helped out a different universe and put them on her universe to stop this sort of attack about Fiona's Kick universe. But I love that you can see all the old characters trying to help Fionna Kick because once again, Fionna Kick are good people, just sort of mislead about their own lives. But I love it everyone went there to save and help them. It went a little bit kaiju, I have to admit, a little bit over the top, but it works so well. Especially how everything was stopped by the Golem slash Betty because everything has changed. They become canon. They become reality of one of the wishes of Fresno. So I just sort of ended up in a way like, what am I gonna do next? Yeah, I love it's sort of interesting how the Scarab just freaked out, went nuts, but at the same time, sort of opening the veil what type of person Scarab really was, because he's a guy who was stickler to the rules, but he won't never budge to the rules because the rules are the rules. But I'm realizing Scarab became like Simon. Well, actually, someone to tell him like, chill, bro. That's like not really. If you really think about it, you see the rest of the episodes that a lot of different creatures or beings told them that like you don't need to follow the rules exactly because there is no point because you're unhappy. And once again, he didn't listen. He was sort of self-destructing, trying to do what he think he's supposed to do. And that's just sort of interesting because they sort of stopped him because he had to be stopped. Yeah, I love it that sort of this sort of metaphorical happy ending. Like you choose your own world because that is your own world. But it adds a sort of happiness, sort of self-realization in a way. It's just so interesting and just fascinating how they went. Because the ending was just sort of happy. It just really got to me. I mean, I didn't cry. In fact, I wonder, did you cry about the happy ending? How emotional and gratifying it really was. Of course, I did say I feel needed maybe another 30 seconds of sort of talking or another minute. But other than that, that's the only complaint I have because the ending just was great, especially how Simon realized he is important because people do need him because he likes helping people. The relevant sort of the lesson is because if you do learn a lesson, soon later you sort of forget. So you have to sort of figure out a way to remind yourself once in a while not to fall that hole. And that is true of life because sometimes you feel you're pointless while realize you're not. It's almost like a whole metaphor of the whole series of depression, not knowing what to do with yourself. In a way, it works so well. But I love it. You not just focus on one character. You sort of not really notice that you focus all the same characters are feeling the same thing, feeling trapped in their lives, trying to figure out what to do in themselves, running away their sort of real problems while actually facing them in a more proper way. And that is just sort of interesting, especially with Adventure Time, because remember at the very beginning, Adventure Time is just wacky and fun and random things. It's Dungeons and Dragons just having fun, but yet realizing, yeah, there's sometimes you have to follow the rules, sometimes you don't. Like Dungeons and Dragons. Because ironically, you fall into Dungeons and Dragons are how life is. You have great friends, sometimes you have enemies, sometimes your friends become your lover, but maybe not. It's just a really random fun ride. Yeah, that is just sort of appreciate, especially what happened to Simon, how he became more happier. At least little by little, he figuring it out. At the same time, Fiona, even the Scarab trying to figure out who he is, maybe trying to chill with Fresmo. All of that, I just enjoyed this. Especially the animation was amazing. The voice acting was amazing. All the side kind of characters that you remember on the original Adventure Time reappear. Not all of them because it's just so many, but at least the most iconic. Like the squirrel that was sort of surprising he reappeared once again. But all of that, I can't really say much. Just one question: how you felt about this finale? You love it? You hate it? You feel a little bit too much, not enough, or you think it's just perfect? All of that, I can't really say much. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.